when you're watching Jujutsu Kaisen, there's something that always seems to pop up every once in a while. And that is the Heian Era. Or, put it simply, the very idea that seals, sorcerers, curse techniques, everything Jujutsu related was way better, way stronger 1,000 years ago. And later on, the series finally understand why. The sorcerers of the past were stronger. Hence, we generally get the idea that strength was extremely important to society itself. Now, it's through two clans that the image is painted even better. The Fujiwara clans and the Sugawara clans. The Fujiwara clan had this harvest ritual where they would pay tribute to their gods. After Sukuna defeated the 5 generals and the celestial squad of their clan, they changed that ritual. The next year, the harvest ritual wasn't paying tribute to a god, to their god, it was paying tribute to Sukuna. Yorozu, an outside, not a member of the clan, but after she defeated the 5 generals, she was invited into the clan, meaning the structure of clans, society itself, was based on strength, which is extremely different to the current structure of society in the present era. Though there are some clans that seem to mimic the structure of the Heian era. In the current era, there are 3 major clans in Jujutsu society: the Kamo clan, Zeinin, and Gojo clan. But these clans holding strength above all ideology isn't all that surprising. For example, the Kamo clan and the Zeinin clan. The Kamo clan chose Noritoshi to become the next head, as he had the blood manipulation technique. The Zeinin clan, later on, Fushiguro becomes the head of the Zeinin clan because of his 10 Shadows technique. You see, they respect strength and they acknowledge it. But the current structure of Jujutsu society isn't an exact copy of how it was 1,000 years ago. The main difference being, in the current structure of society, there's a lot of bureaucracy. The best example is the Zeinin clan. They interfere with Maki's promotion solely because they don't acknowledge her strength. Sure, the 3 major clans go along with this strength above all ideology, but they only follow it when the strength in question goes along with their idea of strength. This line of thinking is also shared with the higher ups of Jujutsu society. When Yuji appeared as Sukuna's vessel, their form of dealing with the situation was by secretly planning Yuji's execution. When Rika, a special grade curse, appeared, their form of dealing with the situation was secretly executing Yuta. This conservative way of leadership is a form of preservation. Later on, Gojo says that they act in this way, trying to hold back a wave of power, trying to prevent another Heian era. With the Zeinin clan, they rejected Toji because Toji was the exact opposite of what a sorcerer is usually like. By accepting Toji as a member of the clan, to them, they would be rejecting themselves. In the fight, we find out that the clan was almost destroyed due to Toji's whims, although we don't really understand what that means. For them, accepting a sorcerer with no cursed energy is defying their form of life, hence Toji's rejection. And this is made all very clear after the Shibuya incident. Sukuna massacred a lot of people in Shibuya. This was exactly what the higher ups were trying to prevent by secretly executing Yuji. It wasn't a matter of they hated Yuji per se. Now back to the Heian era. The clearest example of the vast disparity in strength and ability of sorcerers between modern-day Jujutsu sorcerers and the Heian era is Sukuna. He's hailed as the king of curses, and he sure lives up to his name. Everything about his character acts as a window through which you can see the events of the Heian era. For example, in his fight with Megumi, you realize that his agility is different, his understanding of curses, his domain expansion being an open barrier domain, which is inconceivable to modern day Jujutsu sorcerers. Everything about Sukuna is different. His attitude when fighting, the way he gets easily bored with weakness, but gets extremely excited at the idea of strength. With Megumi when he was fighting Jogo, to him fights are a form of entertainment, his way of life. And he clearly shows us how strong sorcerers of the Heian era were. And later on, during the Culling Games, as more and more sorcerers are reincarnated, this is made even more clear. Thousand years have passed and things sort of simmered down. Something started to change around the 1980s. Curses started to grow in number and strength. With curses growing in numbers and them becoming stronger, sorcerers become busier. Those are two things that are in favor of quote unquote bad. Curses are stronger, making sorcerers busier. When sorcerers become busier, curse users become free. That's the third thing. In favor of the bad part of Jujutsu society. Now, all this wasn't an accident. All this were sort of nature's preparation for a crazy strong good. Because on the December of 1989, Gojo was born. He would massively tip the scale in favor of the good of Jujutsu society. So in preparation of his birth, the bad had to become stronger. Now Gojo was an unprecedented appearance of talent that would rival those of sorcerers who existed in the Heian Era. If this sudden appearance of talent only occurred in Gojo, then modern day Jujutsu sorcery would look pretty much like Kashimo's era. This wide gap between Kashimo's talent and the talent of other Jujutsu sorcerers. But something was different with the modern era. Gojo isn't the only anomaly. Let's start first with Shoko. Healing in humans requires an advanced reverse curse technique. Now, the reverse curse technique is a very complicated ability. Yet Shoko, while still in high school, could perform it. And not only that, we later find out that being able to perform reverse curse technique doesn't equate being able to heal others with your positive energy. Currently, the sorcerers we've seen being able to do that are Sukuna, Yuta, and Shoko. Now, Shoko's talent in terms of reverse curse technique goes farther because Sukuna himself says that her reverse curse technique is intrinsically different from that of Gojo's and Sukuna, meaning despite the fact that she can heal others with it, she could do it from quite a young age. Hers is completely different from the others. Now, I'm not saying it's better, but the mere fact that hers is different from Gojo's and Sukuna shows that her talent in terms of reverse curse technique is pretty much unrivaled. Now, Geto. Let's go back to the fact that the strength of a Jutsu sorcerer is roughly 80% innate talent. With Geto, his curse technique was curse spirit manipulation, the ability to absorb curses and use them without any charms. Now, Geto's utilization of it doesn't really paint the best picture of the curse technique. But through Kenjaku's utilization of it, we see its power. After absorbing Mahito, he could extract the curse technique from an absorbed curse spirit. And the fact that most of Kenjaku's fights from now on, he uses curse spirit manipulation. It's only through Kenjaku that we're able to truly see the strength of curse spirit manipulation. One of the most obvious anomalies is Toji and Maki. Both are from the Zenin clan, a clan comprising entirely of Jujutsu sorcerers. Yet his very nature was the exact opposite of what he meant to be a sorcerer. And nature didn't stop at Toji. A few years later, in the same clan, Maki was born. Something of this precedent has never occurred, even the Heian Era, where Jujutsu talent was at its highest. When Sukuna found out that Maki had no curse energy, he was completely surprised. Meaning, it's very possible that no one like Maki and Toji ever existed in the Heian Era. Yet, here they are currently. If they were weak, no major problem, right? But that isn't the case. Toji was the strongest member of the Zaiden clan, while Maki, later on after her awakening, she destroyed the entire clan. Another anomaly, Todo. Todo is a first grade Jutsu sorcerer. And normally, the talent of a Jutsu sorcerer is 80%, meaning the curse technique they were born with.
But Todo, his curse technique isn't some destructive ability. It's just the ability to switch places, switch positions of objects, people, or anything with cast energy above a certain level. Yet, Todo is able to fight against Hanami, Mahito. Another anomaly is Noritoshi, Kamo Noritoshi. Noritoshi is an anomaly because of his technique, blood manipulation. Just like Geto, his performance really doesn't do his technique enough justice. But through Choso's utilization, we get to see how powerful a technique blood manipulation is. Another anomaly in this current era of Jutsu sorcerers is Hakari. Hakari's cast technique comes with a domain pre-installed. Pre-installed! Not only that, Hakari can effectively become immortal for 4 minutes and 11 seconds. That isn't normal. Another anomaly is Yuta. Remember those two powerful clans that existed in the Heian era? Yeah, Yuta's a descendant of one of those clans. Apart from that, Yuta's cast energy is so much, it's like Naruto's chakra. Also, Yuta's more talented than Gojo. Like, need I say more? Another anomaly is Panda. Panda isn't an anomaly for the reason you believe. Ever since the beginning, anytime there'd be a character introduction, there'd be this is Maki, a cursed tool user, this is Inumaki, a cursed speech user, then they'd be like, this is Panda. There was always some mystery of how Panda can even exist. Now, after the Shibuya incident, we get to see that the higher ups had always been pressing Yaga on how he had created Panda. Panda's an anomaly because of what it means for a cast corpse to exist that can produce its own cast energy. His very existence is due to Yaga's extreme mastery of cast corpses. The final anomaly is Megumi. Megumi's cast technique is powerful enough to summon a Shikigami that can adapt to literally anything. That's how powerful a technique it is. And apart from Maoraga, the technique itself is powerful, and this was shown through Sukuna's fight with Gojo and Sukuna's fight with Yorozu. We saw how powerful a technique Ten Shadows was. When was the last time there was so much Jujutsu talent in one era? It was the Heian era. But that's like impossible, right? It's like another Heian era is about to begin. And just when you start to think, wait, is this like another Heian era? The biggest anomaly of them all appears. The most powerful sorcerer of all time suddenly gets a vessel powerful enough to hold them. Now, Yuji's resistance to curses is so high, but it's almost comparable to that of a heavy restriction. So that isn't the scary part. The scary part is Yuji's soul can suppress Sukuna. According to Kenjaku, Yuji's soul could suppress 20 fingers Sukuna's soul. How is this happening? At first, it was like nature's the one pulling the strings, but all this talent appearing in one place. Some of them were natural occurrences. Some were such as Toji, Maki, Yuta, all of them. Those were natural occurrences. But Sukuna suddenly getting a vessel, it all can't be purely coincidental. Someone has to be pulling the strings. So when we look back at all the major events of season 1, the costume at the prison, it was Kenjaku's doing. Jogo's attack on Gojo, Kenjaku sort of put the idea in his head. Junpei and Mahito, Kenjaku was also a part of that. The attack on the sister school exchange event, purely Kenjaku's idea. And the emergence of the death paintings, also Kenjaku's idea. All major events, he's been a part of them. But this was after he partnered with the disaster curses. The disaster causes are another anomaly. The cursed energy that has been channeled towards volcanoes, the earth itself, oceans, has been piling up all these years. Because people have been fearing volcanoes even before the Heian Era. So the fact that disaster curses suddenly appeared now, that's another anomaly. And after the disaster curses appeared, they went to Geto, and Geto told them that if they wanted to win, they had to do two main things: seal Gojo and get Sukuna on their side. Looking at it from that perspective, all major events of season 1 have been towards these two ends: the cursed womb and the prison. They were testing Sukuna. Jogo's attack, a way of in which Geto could get more information on Gojo. Junpei and Mahito, that was Geto's preparation before the attack on Jujutsu High in order to steal Sukuna's finger so they could reincarnate him. The death paintings, they were sent for Sukuna's finger. So all major events have been towards these two goals, mainly leaning towards getting Sukuna on their side by gathering all the fingers. In season 2, we know the main event is the Shibuya incident, with it entirely being focused on sealing Gojo.
So at the end of Jujutsu Kaisen season 1, we're left with a few questions. First of all, who is he? Because later on in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, we find out that Geto was killed. Also, why is he helping the disaster classes? Because we know why the disaster classes are doing this, but we never find out his own goals and plan. And what will become of the Jujutsu Society if every major bad event has always been solved by Gojo? The present structure of Jujutsu Society depends on Gojo. If there's any major bad thing, Gojo will solve it. So, if they seal Gojo, what will become of the Jujutsu Society? Those are the main questions that we'll try to answer in Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Anyways, if you've watched till this far, thank you for watching the video. Sorry for the bad audio, but I would really appreciate it if you supported the channel by subscribing and even liking the video. Anyways, thank you. Bye. That's me on the next video.